Buck versus Bell was a Supreme Court case centering on a poor disabled woman who was pregnant, and the court ruled that she should be involuntarily sterilized because, in the words of Oliver Wendell Holmes, 3 generations of imbeciles were more than enough.
Carrie Buck really represents for the disability community the ability of the government to prevent disabled people from having children and having families. Unfortunately, we have yet to overturn Buck v. Bell.
The idea for the fellowship itself came out of a conversation that Monica Mitra and I had several years ago.
We formed this Carrie Buck Distinguished Fellowship, where we are awarding this to people who are working in the front lines, protecting the reproductive rights, the sexual rights of disabled people. This is the second year of the Carrie Buck Distinguished Fellowship, and we're absolutely delighted and honored that Robin Wilson-Beattie is the second Carrie Buck Distinguished Fellow.
I'm Robin Wilson-Beattie, and I am a disability, sexual, and reproductive health educator, speaker, and independent researcher. And I talk about all things related to sexuality and the disabled person's experience. For me, reproductive happiness is being supported and being in the body that I am.
People with disabilities endure so many stigmas when it comes to sex and sexuality. Just the idea that people with disabilities have sex is still considered taboo and controversial.
People with disabilities, we are considered like asexual and non-reproductive.
People with intellectual disabilities, people with psychiatric disabilities face some of the highest rates of termination of parental rights. We're also seeing, the attitudes of healthcare practitioners, attitudes of social workers, etc., who are really trying to prevent disabled people from becoming pregnant.
People with disabilities are not provided sex ed, they're not provided access to contraception and all of that. And that leaves them at a disadvantage because they don't know sort of what's, safe, what's not safe, what's correct, not correct.
We see all the natural expected fallout. Higher rates of sexual assault and violence, higher rates of people who don't know that they have the right to consent or to not consent, that they have the right to enjoy sex and sexuality, which is honestly one of the reasons I was so excited to see Robin Wilson-Beattie for this year's Carrie Buck Fellowship, because Robin's work in that space has been so important.
Educating them about what their feelings are, why they're having these feelings and sensations, why they have urges, educating them about consent, both giving and receiving.
But if you take this out of the American context, for example, we have researchers that we are collaborating with from Chile who are talking about very similar kinds of research where disabled people, disabled women are often prevented from being pregnant.
In the research we have conducted in Chile, they have to fight for it, and fight every day against discrimination and stigma.
It doesn't matter where you are in the world. Somebody's going to have something to say negative about disabled people having sex and having babies. It's universal.
I remember meeting Robin and instantly being taken in by her warmth, her energy, and she brought a real level of nuance to the conversation, particularly around pleasure. I also just think her sitting at the nexus of race and gender and disability really matters.
All her work is informed by her lived experience as a Black woman with invisible as well as visible disability. We need people like Robin who can inform both disabled people but also the society at large about the needs and the sexual and reproductive rights of disabled people.
Robin is really getting out there and empowering people with disabilities to be sexual beings and to have fulfilling lives in all areas of their lives.
Sexuality is an integral part of who we are as a human being. You're not going to know unless you're taught.
I just wanted to ask you, Robin, for our young disabled brothers and sisters, what would you say to them as they are thinking about, is this even for me?
Having this at a place like Brandeis really matters because colleges and universities are such a place of profound influence in a positive way. People who might claim that they don't know anybody with a disability, hearing Robin's conversation today The next time they meet a person with a disability, it'll trigger something different in their brain.
It's really, really important to have this kind of events to take this positive approach to disability.
If we are going to really reckon with our history, which is continuing in many ways, we need to be celebrating people who are doing the work to try to move past all.
I've always believed in myself and I believe in my work, but this has taken it to the next level, that we have a right to be heard and a right to be celebrated.